Welcome to the Bobcat Skid Steer Loader Operator Training Course. Working safely and efficiently is the primary focus of this program. Whether this is your first day on the job or you are an experienced skid steer loader operator, safe and efficient work practices can never be overstressed. Listen closely to the instructions provided by this video and your instructor. Knowledge is one of the key ingredients in developing safe work practices. Without it, you cannot recognize situations that, if not avoided, could result in an accident causing serious injury or death to you, someone working with you, or cause property or equipment damage. We have provided examples of safe practices using currently manufactured Bobcat loaders. If your loader differs from the example shown, refer to the Bobcat Operation and Maintenance Manual, the machine signs, AEM Skid Steer Loader Safety Manual, and the Bobcat Operator's Handbook. You will see this safety alert symbol throughout this presentation, as well as in various manuals and on machine safety signs. It identifies important safety messages. When you see it, be alert to the possibility of serious injury or death. Always follow the instructions in the safety messages or other instructional machine signs. This symbol points out actions you should avoid to reduce the potential for serious injury or death or damage to the equipment. In 1958, the Melro Company, which is now called the Bobcat Company, revolutionized the way the world worked with the introduction of the M200 self-propelled loader. Bobcat engineers, not satisfied with the M200, went back to the drawing board and created the world's first skid steer loader, the M400. The M400, which later became the M444, was the granddaddy of the world-famous Bobcat skid steer loader. Skid steer loaders with the Bobcat trademark first appeared in 1962. The company founder, E.G. Melro, was a born inventor who was never quite satisfied with the status quo. Bobcat Company continues to reflect E.G. Melro's innovative attitude today. We have accumulated over 40 years of research and development to provide the world with the best skid steer loader available. In the year 2001, Bobcat Company achieved a milestone by manufacturing its 500,000th skid steer loader. Tied to that commitment is the continuing effort to provide information and training on the safe and efficient operation of the skid steer loader. Well, keeping true to E.G. Melro's philosophy, the Bobcat skid steer loader has never stopped changing. Different models have been introduced to meet the needs of specific industries around the world. The Bobcat Company may be known as a company of change, but one thing that hasn't changed since the company's inception is our commitment to quality, workmanship, and operator safety. Before we dive into this program, let's define what a skid steer loader is. Skid steer loaders are self-propelled machines that are unique in their rugged, compact, and highly maneuverable design. Equipped with four-wheel drive, the skid steer loader has two independent transmissions, one to power the left wheels and one to power the right. This design permits independent control of left and right side wheel speed and direction of wheel rotation. It's this kind of independent control that causes the loader to skid steer. Because of this design, skid steer loaders are known for their ability to turn in their own tracks, which makes them extremely valuable for applications requiring a compact and agile machine. It's been said that a skid steer loader can do just about anything a man can do, but it needs a trained operator to do it safely and efficiently. These loaders have gained a reputation, and deservedly so, as the most productive machines capable of performing in a wide variety of applications and conditions. But like every machine, the skid steer loader is only as productive as the operator allows it to be. In order to achieve our goals of safety, efficiency, and productivity, we need to understand some of the design principles used in the development of the skid steer loader. These principles are what make the skid steer loader unique and able to perform as no other machine can. We know that the two independent transmissions give the loader the ability to skid steer. But how did Bobcat engineers provide this capability with minimal power and tread wear? And how did they keep the machine so compact when it carries two transmissions? During the design phase, engineers studied the ratio between tread width and wheelbase. Tread width is the distance from the center line of the tires measured from one side of the loader to the other. Wheelbase is the distance from the center line of the tires measured from front to rear. The relationship between the two measurements is critical to skid steer performance. Bobcat Company's years of research have led to what is called an optimum tread width to wheelbase ratio. The optimum tread width to wheelbase ratio enables a properly designed skid steer loader to turn without consuming excess engine power or adding to tire wear. Balance is another important ingredient that must be added to the design recipe for stability and turning capability. Bobcat engineers designed Bobcat skid steer loaders with unequal loading between the front and rear axles. Bobcat loaders use a weight distribution of about 70% to 30%. For example, with no load on the bucket, about 70% of the machine's weight is on the rear axles, while 30% is on the front axles. With most of the load on the rear axles, the machine easily pivots or turns on the rear wheels. With a load in the bucket, this ratio reverses. Most of the load is now on the front axles. The front axles now become the pivot point for turning. If you stand flat-footed with your weight spread evenly on the heel and toe, it is very difficult to turn or pivot your feet side to side. If you were to put most of your weight on the heel, it becomes easier to move. The same is true of putting most of your weight on the ball of your foot. You might say it comes natural. Bobcat skid steer loaders operate on this very principle. Skid steer turning is only one feature of the skid steer loader. It's what makes it agile. We need to discuss the rated operating capacity of the loader. How much will it safely lift? The SAE guidelines for establishing rated operating capacity state that no more than 50% of the tipping load should be declared as the rated operating capacity. The maximum load that a skid steer loader can lift should not be confused with the rated operating capacity. For example, the tipping load for a 773 Bobcat loader is 3,900 pounds or 1,769 kilograms. Note that the rated operating capacity of 1,750 pounds or 794 kilograms is no more than 50% of the tipping load. Obviously, tipping load should not be used to measure the loader's ability to do work. Rated operating capacity is used because it reflects the load that a skid steer loader can handle safely under normal operating conditions. Some Bobcat attachments, like a pallet fork, can greatly affect the rated operating capacity of your Bobcat loader. This is because the load center is further away from the front of the machine. For example, you will recall from our previous example that the rated operating capacity of a 773 Bobcat loader is 1,750 pounds. The rated operating capacity of the same loader, equipped with a pallet fork attachment, is 1,125 pounds, or 511 kilograms. A decal is located on the pallet fork frame, indicating the rated operating capacity when the loader is equipped with a pallet fork. Here's your first safety tip. Never modify your loader. If non-approved counterweights are added, if tires are overinflated, or non-approved attachments are used, such as an oversized bucket, the rated operating capacity can be dramatically affected. The drive system of the Bobcat skid steer loader, and most skid steer loaders on the market, is based on a hydrostatic transmission. The beauty of hydrostatics is that it allows the operator to control each side of the loader independently and with precision. A hydrostatic transmission is based on transferring power by means of a fluid rather than mechanical means like gears and clutches. A hydrostatic pump, driven by the engine, controls oil flow to a hydrostatic motor. The greater the oil flow to the motor, the faster the motor shaft spins, and the faster the motor shaft spins, the faster the wheels turn. The pump also has the ability to reverse flow to the motor, making the motor turn backwards, and thus the wheels to turn backwards. The most important aspect of hydrostatics for you as an operator is that every action has a precise reaction. The loader will react the moment you move the steering levers forward or rearward. Maintenance is another important aspect of the design. Bobcat Company makes every attempt to simplify the daily maintenance process by having daily checks and service items easy to get at. The radiator on a Bobcat loader is located above the engine so that it does not block access to the engine. Easy access to the engine and other components makes servicing the Bobcat loader a lot easier. Other maintenance items, which are not part of daily maintenance, are also easily reached by tipping the cab to the rear. Place jack stands under the rear frame, remove 2 nuts, and tip the cab to the rear. As we all know, the easier something is to do, the more likely we are to do it. At Bobcat Company, we want to make maintenance as easy as possible because a well-maintained machine is important for safe and efficient operation. Now that we've covered the design principles which affect you directly as an operator, let's look at the controls of the Bobcat skid steer loader. Understanding the controls and indicators and knowing where they are is as important as understanding the design principles. When you buy a vehicle, the first thing you do before driving off the dealer's lot is to look for and understand the function of the controls and indicators. You do this because you know deep down that the minute you drive away, a torrential rainstorm is bound to strike. So rather than fumbling around for the wiper switch in the middle of traffic and having an accident, you know immediately where and how to engage the wipers. You should approach construction equipment with the same care. All skid steer loaders are not alike, so have your dealer explain the instrument panel and the control systems. You will find that all of the operating controls for a skid steer loader are inside the cab, and that's where they should be operated from. Never try starting the loader while standing outside the cab, and never try operating any of the hydraulic controls while standing outside of the cab. This is dangerous. The steering levers control forward and reverse travel and are also used to turn the loader. As you found out in our discussion on hydrostatics, move these levers slowly to start moving. Use the control handle switches located on top of the steering levers to control the auxiliary hydraulics on your Bobcat loader. Your operation and maintenance manual explains how the switches are used to control the various attachments that use the auxiliary hydraulic system. The foot pedals control the lift arm and the bucket or attachment. Pushing on the top of the pedals is referred to as towing, and pushing on the bottom is referred to as heeling. Tow the right pedal to tilt the bucket forward, and heel the pedal to tilt the bucket rearward. Heel the left pedal to raise the lift arms. And tow the pedal to lower the lift arms. Towing the left pedal all the way forward until it locks into detent places the lift arms in the float position. Always drive in reverse when the lift arms and bucket are in the float position while back dragging. On some newer models, to engage the lift arms in the float position, use the yellow float button. For safety reasons, whenever you are operating the loader, keep your feet on the footrests or pedals. Located between the 2 control pedals is the parking brake. On some models, the parking brake is a switch located on the instrument panel. When stopping and exiting the loader, never leave the loader seat with lift arms raised or with the engine running. To exit the loader, lower the lift arms and place the attachment flat on the ground. Apply the parking brake. Stop the engine. Raise the seat bar, release the seat belt, and move the pedals or hand controls until they lock. The engine speed control lever is located at the right side of the operator's seat. Engine speed is controlled by moving the engine speed control lever forward to increase the engine RPM and backward to decrease the RPM. Before we show you how to operate, we want to point out the safety features found on most skid steer loaders. Many of the safety features on a Bobcat are built into the design, but there are some safety features that are the responsibility of the operator to be aware of and to use. Because operators come in all shapes and sizes, all Bobcat skid steer loaders are equipped with adjustable seats. The controls won't do you much good if you can't reach them. There's also a seat belt that must be worn every time the loader is operated. Adjust the buckle so that it is centered between the hips and that the belt fits snugly around the hips. Remember to fasten your shoulder belt for additional restraint and lap belt when operating a loader equipped with optional 2-speed control while in high-range speed. In addition to the seat belt, a seat bar restraint system is a feature on all Bobcat skid steer loaders currently being manufactured. Seat bar kits are available for older model skid steer loaders. The seat bar provides additional operator restraint in the down position, but the seat belt must still always be worn. Interlocks require the operator to lower the seat bar before he can operate the loader. The seat bar also serves as an armrest for operator comfort. So not only is this a very important safety feature, it helps reduce arm fatigue and thereby increases productivity. Bobcat Company's commitment to provide the latest innovations in safety technology led to the development of the Bobcat Interlock Control System, or BICS. The BICS system requires the operator to be in the seat with the seat bar down before the loader's lift and tilt hydraulic system will be activated and the traction drive system can be operated. On newer loader models, the BICS indicator lights are located on the left instrument panel. Remember, the operator must be seated with the seat bar lowered and the engine on to activate the BICS. The seat bar light comes on when the seat bar is down. Pressing the Press to Operate Loader button activates the Bobcat Interlock Control System. The lift and tilt valve light comes on when the Press to Operate Loader button is pressed. The lift and tilt functions can now be operated when the light is on. The traction light also comes on when the Press to Operate Loader button is pressed and the parking brake is released. The loader can be moved forward and backward when the light is on. If any indicator light is off or blinking, it could mean there is a problem with the BICS system. Refer to your operation and maintenance manual or operator's handbook for instructions about proper maintenance and inspection procedures for the BICS. On some older model loaders, the BICS controller indicator lights are behind the operator's right shoulder. Refer to the operator's handbook or operation and maintenance manual for instruction about these earlier BICS-equipped models. Because you must be in the seat with the seat bar lowered before the BICS will allow the traction drive to operate, a traction lock override feature has been provided for special circumstances. Remember, the seat bar must be in the raised position. Push the traction lock override button located on the left instrument panel to override the BICS traction lock when using the backhoe attachment or when servicing the loader. With the engine running, press the traction lock override button again to re-engage the BICS traction lock. The BICS has a lift arm bypass control knob for lowering the lift arms in the event that the lift arms cannot be lowered during normal operating conditions. On some newer models, turn the lift arm bypass control knob clockwise a quarter turn and pull up and hold it until the lift arms slowly lower. To lower the lift arms on earlier model loaders, pull up and hold the lift arm bypass control knob and toe the left foot pedal. Also on some newer model skid steer loaders, the BICS system deactivates the auxiliary hydraulic system when the operator raises the seat bar. If you look around the cab, you will see clearly printed decals that are precautions about the safe operation of the skid steer loader. Read and understand these precautions before you begin operation. Bobcat Company also attaches the Bobcat Operator's Handbook in every cab, and each loader comes with an operation and maintenance manual and the AEM Skid Steer Loader Safety Manual. Your Bobcat loader is equipped with a ROPS and FOPS approved cab. These acronyms stand for Rollover Protective Structure and Falling Object Protective Structure. This structure should not be removed or modified. If the structure is damaged, replace it. Bobcat Company recommends that all skid steer loaders, including older models, be equipped with a ROPS. See your Bobcat dealer for more information on the availability of ROPS for older machines. A secondary exit has been provided in the form of a removable rear window. If for any reason your exit is blocked to the front, pull the tag on the rear window to remove the seal. Push the window out and exit. We mentioned a few moments ago that maintenance was a major consideration during the skid steer design process. The lift arm support is another safety feature. All regular maintenance and service work can be done with the lift arms lowered and the attachment resting on the ground. However, if for any reason repair work needs to be done with the lift arms raised, use the lift arm support. Check with the Bobcat dealer for availability of lift arm supports for other skid steer loaders. One of the reasons for creating this training course is to make you aware of the importance of understanding basic operating skills. These basic skills must be exercised every time you operate a skid steer loader, because believe it or not, most mishaps can occur doing the simplest of things, like getting on and off the loader. The first thing you should do as a new operator is grab the operation and maintenance manual and read it carefully. If you need a reference while you're on the job, use the operator's handbook found in every cab. One of the fundamentals of safe operation is knowing how to properly enter the loader. Watch this operator as he enters the cab. He's holding onto the grab handles as he steps up on the skid-resistant surfaces on the bucket, the lift arm, and frame. Once in the cab, he eases himself into the seat. Before starting the loader, you must do the following. Adjust the seat for comfort. Adjust and fasten the seat belt so that the buckle is centered between the hips and the belt fits snugly around the hips. Remember to fasten your shoulder belt for additional restraint and lap belt when operating a loader equipped with optional 2-speed control while in high-range speed. On newer loader models, engage the brake by pressing the top of the parking brake switch. Make sure the parking brake is engaged. Lower the seat bar. Place feet on foot pedals and keep them there. Make sure the foot pedals are in the neutral position. Set the engine speed control lever to the midpoint and make sure the steering levers are in the neutral position. You are now ready to start the loader. Turn the key to start and release the key when the engine starts. Diesel engines may require glow plugs or starting aids. Check the operation and maintenance manual for instructions on starting your particular loader. Always look at the instrument panel before you begin operating to make sure all loader systems are functioning properly. Read your operator's manual for details about the gauges in your loader. Everything checked out on our loader, but the operator hasn't budged. Most manufacturers, including Bobcat Company, recommend warming up the engine and hydrostatic system before you begin operating. It's also a good idea to check the hydraulics to see that they are working correctly before arriving at the job site. Raise the lift arms and tilt the bucket to get the hydraulic fluid cycling. Then lower the lift arms and tilt the bucket forward. To go forward, press the bottom of the parking brake switch to release the brake. Move the steering levers forward slowly at first, then move the levers all the way forward to reach maximum speed. Remember, if your loader has a parking brake pedal, push the bottom of it to release the brake. Watch what happens when our operator is overly anxious to get moving. He did not start out slowly, but instead quickly pushed the steering levers all the way forward. Remember, with hydrostatics, for every action, there is a precise reaction. Once you've got the hang of going forward, you will find that an occasion presents itself every now and then to turn the loader. To make a pivot turn, pull back one lever while moving the other forward. The turn our operator just made was accomplished by pushing the right lever forward while pulling the left lever back. For a normal left turn, push the right lever further forward than the left. Do just the opposite for a right turn. It's a good idea to practice using the steering levers. After all, this high degree of maneuverability is probably why you're using a skid steer loader in the first place. Always look to the rear before driving in reverse to make sure the path is clear. To back the loader, pull both levers rearward. Another feature that we all like to see in any machine is the ability to stop. On a hydrostatic skid steer loader, when the steering levers are returned to the neutral position, the loader will stop because of hydrostatic braking. To get out of the machine, lower the lift arms and place the attachment flat on the ground. Set the parking brake. Stop the engine. Remove the key if the loader has one. Raise the seat bar. Release the seat belt and move the pedals or hand controls until they lock. Get out of the cab. Never, under any circumstances, leave the operator's seat while the engine is running or with the lift arms in the raised position. Accidents can happen, like bumping a steering lever or moving a hydraulic control. This concludes part 1 of the video. Your instructor will now take over.